Everyone here is either a self-made millionaire or you intend to be in the future. Everybody loves the subject of becoming wealthy. And then I'm going to give you 7 keys to becoming an outstanding leader in this industry and becoming one of the highest paid people in our society and becoming wealthy. The wonderful thing is they're not complicated. In order to become a millionaire, you have to become a completely different person. You have to develop character beyond 99 of the people in the world. You have to develop honesty, discipline, quality relationships, and the willingness and the ability to work and set priorities and all kinds of stuff, because without that, nothing is possible. The first one of all is dream big dreams. You couldn't believe it. Every single person who finally made it said the turning point in their life. They were driving down the road of life, not making much progress, which is the 80-20 rule that you hear. 80% of people make 20% of the money, and 20% of the people make 80% of the money. And what happens at a certain point in life, they change and go on a different road. And here's the turning point. It is making a decision. Make a decision that I'm going to become wealthy. I'm going to become a millionaire, and I will work hard, long hours. I will sacrifice. I will pay the price. I will do everything that is necessary. So I wanted to share with you what I call the 7 C's. So the first C is the C of clarity. Clarity is my favorite word in success. It's my favorite word in business. I've done consulting for more than 1,000 corporations, large companies worldwide, companies like IBM, General Motors, PepsiCo, Bank of America, big companies. And I've also worked with more than 10,000 small and medium-sized companies. And what I found is in every single situation, problems occur when the company becomes unclear about what it is they're doing or how it is they're doing it. And so I've developed a program which is really just a fun program for me. It's actually called the 2-Day MBA, and it shows 10 different factors of a company. And these are the ones that I learned when I went back to the university in my 30s. And I find that all problems come from a lack of clarity. What is your product? The first question you ask. Who is your customer? What is your customer? Consider to be more valuable than anything else. How are you superior to your competitors? What can you do to attract more customers? How can you close those customers? Number 2 is write it down. Write it down. Write it down. There's nothing more important than writing down your goals, because if it's not written down, it's merely a fantasy. Now, they've done a whole series of studies at Harvard and Yale and Cornell and so on. But the difference between students who type their notes and students who write their notes, the students who write their notes all get straight A's. Students who type their notes forget everything before the end of the day, because writing forces you to use 3 abilities. Your kinesthetic ability, your physical ability of writing, your audio ability. You see it when you're writing it. And your auditory ability. You say it to yourself when you're writing. So you activate the 3 major parts of your brain simultaneously, like a laser beam from a space station onto a piece of paper, and your subconscious mind accepts it as a command. Write it down. Write it down. And it's the most amazing darn thing. If all you did was write down one goal and leave this conference, your life will be different forever. And because there are all kinds of things that will start to happen, and you'll say, well, that's a coincidence. I just wrote that goal down when I was in that meeting this afternoon. And then I get this phone call or something in the mail, or I saw something on TV. So it was just phenomenal. Phenomenal. So step number 1, right? Decide what you want. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, set a deadline. Tell yourself when you want it. I want this by such and such a date. So every goal always ends with a use by date, as in, I achieved this goal by this date, and you write it in the present tense. Number 4 is make a list of everything that you could think of to do. Just make a list. And as you think of more things, add it to the list. Keep writing it down, writing it down. Sometimes you think of something in the middle of the night, write it down. Keep a pad of paper next to your bed and quickly write it down so you don't forget it. Just write it down, write it down. That's number 4. And this is really important. It's the great turning point, like a massive ship turning the ocean. Your whole life starts to turn when you write down a list of the steps you're going to have to take. I don't recommend other people's books because I've heard so many myself, and I summarize hundreds of books that I've read over the years. But there's one book that had a great influence on me, and it's called the Checklist Manifesto. Has anybody read this book, The Checklist Manifesto? It was written by a doctor, an emergency ward doctor, and he talks about the value of checklists when you're trying to accomplish a goal, build a business, raise a child, whatever you want to do. He says, create a checklist. He said, at everything in the world, this room, car, or swimming pool, everything follows a checklist. Everything requires a checklist to build it. The wonderful thing about organizing a checklist before you begin work on a project is it has an extraordinary effect on your life. And what he does is he teaches in the most entertaining way how people who do and do not use checklists died like bankrupt. The most successful people in finance in the world. And they use checklists in order to organize their financial life. Business people, anyway. It's the one book that I would recommend. It's a short book and it's just fascinating reading. It's called The Checklist Manifesto. Anyway, so take your list of rules and organize. Here, this is my priority. Make a checklist with what's number 1, what's number 2, what's number 3, and so on. And as you get more information, change the list, reorganize it, write it, move things up and down. But step number 5, or step number 6, is to take action on your list. Take action on the most important thing on your list. Do something. Launch. Get going. Do it now. Do it immediately. Get up and do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be revising your papers. It could be making a phone call. It can be ordering a book. It could be something. But do something which is sort of like the kickoff in a football game. Just kick the ball as far as you can. And number 7, and this is going to make you rich, happy, popular, and thin. Number 7 is do something every day on your most important goal. Do something every day on your most important goal. So here's the exercise I'm going to give you to take home with you and do when you leave us. And by the way, from now on, whenever you bring on a new person, put them through this exercise. If they will not go through this exercise, do not waste a minute of your time with them because they will never be successful if they won't follow your guidance. And here's the exercise. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Don't worry about 2 years or 10 years or 5 years. Just 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months and write them in the present tense, almost like you're submitting an order. Just write that. I earn, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own whatever it happens to be. And the goals will be financial goals, family goals, physical goals, and so on. Write down 10. And then you take this list of 10 and you say, if I had a magic wand and I could wave this magic wand and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? They'll jump out at you. It will jump back down at you like a spider in a horror movie. It will grab you and put a circle around that goal. And that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper. And then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it. Organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this simple exercise, then you'll all be rich. Nothing can stop you but yourself. So number 2, the second C is the C of competence. And the C of competence says it's very simple, is that you can only earn a lot of money if you're very good at what you do. One of the most important things you do is you break down your work into skills. And you say, what are the most important skills I need to have to be successful? Recruiting is a very important skill. Training is an important skill. Managing, motivating is an important skill. Leading, supervising, important skills. So what you do is you think, what are the skills that I will need to be in the top 10 of my field? You don't have to be in the top 1, just be in the top 10, because there are no successful people who are not good at what they do. They're good at what they do because they work at it all the time. Whether you're in sports, or whether you're in music, or chess, or anything else, there's a wonderful study that's been written up. And it'll come to me in a second. I find that because of these pains, my memory slips and it goes around in a circle like a merry-go-round and it comes around again and it'll come back and there it is. But basically, what it said was studying the most successful people is that these people spend 4 more hours becoming good at what they do than average people. The other people don't do it. And that everybody has natural abilities. But the ones who use those abilities transform themselves by really, really working hard and becoming good one skill at a time. This is another thing that's really important. Don't try to be good at everything, because what happens is you just break down. You're just overwhelmed yourself. You just give up. You say, oh, I tried that before. And because all skills are learnable, and you can learn any skill that you want to learn. And if you just simply find out what others have done before you and practice it. And then I began to recruit other salespeople and teach them the same thing. I said, here's the product, here's the advantages and benefits for our customers, and here's how to ask them to make a decision. And they became successful. Many of them today are millionaires and multimillionaires. Many of them own multiple businesses. And they've told me, they said, your training when I was in my 20s, going nowhere, broke, changed my life forever. And the most important thing was I got people just to make a decision. I asked them to make a decision. So many people in this room I know have a challenge with closing. We all do when we start off. But that's where you are now. But that's not where we're going to be 3 months from now. 3 months from now, you're going to be so dangerous. You need to be restrained for yourself and the safety of society, because you'll be able to close anybody on anything. And I'm not talking about pressure. You know what good business is here? It's helping. What you are is you are great helpers. You're helping people to improve the quality of their lives and their health and their family. And so, when you start to see yourself as a helper, your job is to help people understand how much better off their lives can be if they take your advice and guidance. That's what you do. Earl Nightingale said something many years ago. He said, you don't get what you want in life. He said, you get what you deserve. And so I began to study that, get what you deserve, deserve, and I found that deserve comes from the Latin, and it comes from the words de, which means from, and serve, which means from service. And so you get what you want in life from service to other people. And so the people who serve the most, people the very best, are the ones who make the most amount of money in the shortest period of time. But here's something else. When you help other people improve the quality of your life, your self-esteem goes up and your self-confidence goes up, and you feel happy, and you like yourself more, and you like other people. It's the most amazing darn thing. You just put your life on this wonderful upward spiral by deserving that people will buy from you, by looking for ways to help them. How can I help this person to improve the quality of their life and their family and their work? So see yourself as a helper, and your job is to deserve more. And you'll find you look at the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates and the multimillionaires who are individuals. And you think these people focused. They had this obsession with a product of some kind that would really help people to improve the quality of their lives. That's all they think about and all they talk about. And the only people who succeed in those companies are people who have the same obsession with customer service.